presentation.
Good.
Before we
Good evening. Welcome to the Personnel and Administration Subcommittee meeting. Today's Tuesday, May 9th. It is 6:37 p.m. With me in the City Council chambers, I have to my left a Representative Estela Reyes, Councilor Rich Russell, and Councilor Maria de la Cruz. If you can please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. In addition, we would like to have a moment of silence for the victim of the fatal crash that happened on South Broadway last night. Councilors, before we continue with this evening's agenda, we do have to vote for the next chair and vice chair of the Personnel Committee. So if anyone has a nomination for chair, I think this is a great time to.
share,
I'll second that.
I accept. Roll call. Councilor De La Cruz,
Yes.
Councilor Russell,
Yes.
Representative Reyes,
Yes.
and I vote yes. And now nominations for a vice chair.
I nominate Mr. Russell.
second.
No, never won.
Okay, so Mr. Russell declined the nomination.
We can nominate Councilor De La Cruz.
Do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Okay. Roll call, Councilor Russell,
Yes.
Representative Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor De La Cruz,
Yes.
and I vote in the affirmative. Congratulations. I'm sorry?
Who was nominated for the chair?
I was.
So you were nominated as chair?
Yes.
Vice Chairman of the Vice, I don't know how to do it.
Okay, councilors, we have minutes for approval from April 11, 2023. Can I have a motion for approve?
Motion.
To approve?
Second the motion?
Motion made by Councilor Russell, seconded by Councilor De La Cruz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. Oh. Well, we have, tonight on the agenda, we have item 149-23, appointment of first assistant city attorney, brought to us by Attorney Hooten. I did hear from the city clerk that Attorney Hooten went to her and asked for this item to be tabled. So if I can get a motion to table.
Motion to table document 1.
Motion made by Representative Reyes, a second.
Second.
Second made by Councilor De La Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Councilors, we also have new business from April 18th. It's item 124-23, appointment of Antonio Reynoso to the Lawrence Planning Board, brought to us by Mayor DePena. Antonio couldn't make it tonight, and the planning director is on vacation. However, in your packets, I'm sure that you've all had time to review it. you have seen that Mr. Reynoso has served on the planning board for numerous of years, and we do have a member of the planning board that can speak to his, your experience with this member for now, and name, just for the record.
Brenda Rossi, 127 Chester Street. I've served with Cookie, as we know him, been on the planning board since 2013, 14. I just looked up to him. With decision-making, I would listen to what he would have to say on different things that were coming before the planning board. Trust his judgment. He always was there, with helpful hints when people were doing something. And, he said, well, if you do, if you do this, or, we'll condition it. I enjoyed working with him. I was sorry he left, but I'm glad he's coming back, because I'll have my mentor again to look up to. But he was great with the planning board. He was, everyone loved him, and I hope you approve him, because he is a great asset to our planning board.
Thank you. Councilors, at this time, I'm looking for a motion to send this item up as a committee report and give Mr. Reynoso an opportunity to say hello and advocate for himself and be present. Can I have a motion to send?
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Reyes, seconded by Councilor Russell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay, at this point, we don't have any other items, unless there's anything else that, no? Okay, and at this time, I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Reyes, seconded by Councilor Russell. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good evening and welcome to the Ordinance Subcommittee. Today is Tuesday, May 9, 2023, 7:10. Right. What I'm repeating myself, yes, Councilor President. Yes, please. Pursuant of to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2022, this meeting of Ordinance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that the persons who would like to listen to view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person at the locations above or use of any of the following ASICS locations: Facebook's Lawrence City Council page, and YouTube's Lawrence City Council page. This is very annoying. I can't handle this. Please forgive me.
You want to change the mic? Maybe you might.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. My name is Paul O'Brien. I'm the pastor of St. Patrick Parish, and I'm also the president of Lawrence Catholic Academy. So St. Patrick's rents the former St. Patrick's School property to Lawrence Catholic Academy for $1 a year. Former Councilor Abdu, or whatever his current title is a member of our parish pastoral council, finance council, and is also helping us shepherd this through the city process. So we have submitted a plan and received approval last week from the Planning Commission to construct new facilities on our current property. LCA is a school for 450 children from pre-K through grade 8, and our compelling need is for new facilities. Councilor Reyes has been there, and I think she will affirm we have a very compelling need. So our plan is, which again has received approval, on the parking lot that's behind the current school, which would be the corner of Bailey and Parker Street, we're going to construct a fully new school building. Our children will be able to remain in the current school buildings while that's done. After that's completed, the children will move into the new school, and the current school buildings will be demolished and a recreation center will be built there. It's about a 2-year process for the entire phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. In the course of working with the city, we've had numerous department heads, including fire and police most importantly, recommend that we request the closure of Bailey Street from the, I hope you're familiar basically with from the end of our current playground, actually be the alley right next to it, down to the end of Parker Street. There are no residences there. Across the street is just the old library building and the park. The reason for this would be we could use the street as a lay-down area for construction, everything. Alternately, just given the space of the streets, we'd have to use something like St. Patrick's parking lot a couple blocks away, which I really do think would be a much bigger risk safety-wise. So we don't have a timetable for this. It could be as early as this summer we would begin. We're just trying to do all the processes properly to be prepared for what we hope is going to take place pretty soon. So that's the basic request, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just emphasize what this portion of Bailey Street will do, and that is it'll provide a couple hundred feet of buffer and safety. It will allow, obviously there wouldn't be through traffic for the period of construction, but it would allow construction activities to be away from the old school, which Father just mentioned is going to remain in use while the new school is being built. And this helps the contractors keep the construction activities as far away as possible from where the kids will still be going to school. And it also provides safety for pedestrians and motorists from not being in that vicinity of Bailey Street.
Yeah, I can't speak for anyone who lives on Bailey Street, but Bailey Street is a traffic nightmare at the beginning and end of our school day because the streets are so narrow. So I would imagine most folks on Bailey Street, because it won't affect their driving, actually would appreciate that it's going to be closed down during that period, that it could be closed down.
Father, I'm just going to open an invitation for the counselor who has not been. I encourage all of you to stop. I'm very familiar with the project. As you remember, I was there. Thank you for what you're doing for our kids.
Thank you.
It was amazing what I saw that day. I was very impressed how they got involved. The only question I have is, and I think you had mentioned that, is it's not obstructing the traffic for the resident nearby the area, right?
Correct. So to repeat, there are no residences in that area. They begin after our property, the school's property, and during the school day, as far as I can tell, the only people who currently park on that street are employees of LCA. So I don't think it will interfere with anybody's parking habits. There also are something like 60 parking spots on Blanchard Street, the next block up, so there's more than adequate available parking in the neighborhood.
Counselor, any questions? Counselor De La Cruz?
Father, two of my granddaughters go to that school, and my just a nephew. Where are they going to play with the building?
Where are they going to play? I can't say publicly, but I believe we have a very good plan. It's because it's a property that belongs to a private business that I believe is going to allow, and it's immediately nearby. We're just waiting to iron that out, but we are very much on that. I have a meeting tomorrow to hopefully get us toward confirmation. We are just, as I hope you know from your family, we really are just about safety, safety, safety. We've got 450 children in those buildings, and we're obsessed with their safety. So whether it's the possibility of closing off this street or being sure they have a safe place for recess and gym, we're all over this.
Thank you.
Oh, really? Okay. Absolutely. And Officer Cano has done a lot of work with our school, so he's very familiar with the whole layout.
Second. Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Second.
Aye.
Good evening, councils. My name is Captain Ariel Montes. I'm with the Lawrence Police Department. I think I've had the opportunity to meet all of you at one point or another. Man needs no introduction. Abel Cano, he's our business liaison at the PD. Works very closely with all the businesses within the city. So the document that you have in front of you, and I'll read it. It's addressing a problem that I think a lot of the residents in the city are suffering. So it goes as follows. Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 266, Section 120 Delta permits the removal of a motor vehicle from a private way, lot, or other property by a tow truck company upon the order of the property owner or person in lawful control of that property. Before a vehicle may be towed at the expense of that vehicle's owner, the following procedures must be followed. 1, fair notice. The person who has lawful control of such private property must forbid the operator of the vehicle from parking it or letting it stand upon that property, either by informing the operator directly or by a posted notice. For example, a sign that says, towaway zone, no parking, etc. Such posted notice must be conspicuously posted at each entrance of the property and throughout the restricted area in such way that a reasonable person will have known that the parking at that location without permission would result in the towing of that vehicle. Number 2, police notification. No such vehicle shall be removed by the person in control of the property until he or she or the contracted tow truck company representative has notified the police department that the vehicle will be removed. Notification must be made in person at the Lawrence Police Department or by phone. Our phone number 978-794-5900, and the notification should include the address from which the vehicle is being towed, the address and telephone number of the storage facility, the vehicle description to include registration, plate, state, make, model, color, the name and address of the person or the property, the person in charge of the property where the vehicle is being towed from, the name and address of the tow truck company, and the name or employee number of the tow truck operator. Towing, transportation, and storage fees that are associated with that vehicle's removal, which will also be notified as well. The person or company holding the vehicle must ensure that the recovery or service vehicle is registered, insured, inspected, and in full compliance with Mass DOT regulations. The facility where the vehicle will be stored must comply with the following guidelines. Number one, it has to be equipped with surveillance equipment, and all the videos should be preserved for no less than 30 days. Number two, the property will be equipped with adequate lighting so as to allow for safe ingress and egress of the property. Number three, access to the area where the recovery slash service vehicle and the secure vehicles are stored will be fenced in and limited to authorized personnel and not members of the public. Number four, cash payments are not to be accepted after 6 p.m. Credit card and electronic payments, like by way of like apps like Cash App or Apple Pay or whatever else may be developed in the future, would be the preferred form of payment during those hours or after hours. And again, they could resume accepting cash at 6 o'clock in the morning. So cash will not be held at the premises after 6 p.m., and that's obviously a safety concern. Pricing, as per Mass General Law, Chapter 159, Section 6B, for towing and storage must be posted at the front of the business, conspicuously visible. Number seven, the person or company holding the vehicle must be available to accept payment and release the vehicle to the registered owner 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The person or company holding the vehicle may hold the vehicle until the registered owner pays the removal and storage fees and must release the vehicle forthwith once payment is received. The person or company holding the vehicle is responsible for any damages, mechanical or aesthetic, sustained by the vehicle as a result of said tow. Number 10, the person or company holding the vehicle is responsible for the contents of any vehicle while in their custody. Number 11, the tow company must keep a tow log and document tow at place of violation to include whole vehicle, plate, and surrounding area. Number 12, a tow company must be registered through the state according to all applicable law of the Commonwealth and with the city of Lawrence via Citizen Serve, Inspectional Services, Fire Department, Zoning Board, and Clerk's Office, where were required to include certifications, insurances, etc. I'll give up the microphone to Officer Cano so he could tell you about what comes along with the failure to comply.
Good evening, councilors. Good evening, Pat. First and subsequent violations are as follows. Private property owners, any property owner or person in lawful control of the private property who fails to comply with the aforementioned procedures will be fined $200 per incident. Tow company, any tow company who fails to comply with the aforementioned procedure will be fined $200 per incident. The tow company's agent will be held responsible for the recovery, service vehicle operations violation of this ordinance and will be fined $200 per incident. The third violation within a calendar year will result in a 1-week towing suspension. Subsequent violations within a calendar year will yield a hearing before the licensing board, which may result in additional sanctions, including, but not limited to, a permanent license suspension. All sanctions must be deemed appropriate by the licensing board. If any portion of this ordinance is, for any reason, held invalid or unconstitutional, such decisions shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. I want to just make reference to the fact that there's a lot of issues that have come about that we're trying to address little by little. I think that it's important that we try to make towing services for the public as well as the company understand what is required of them. And there's been a few instances where there's been some disparity. So we're just trying to make sure that everyone's on the same page with what we want them to know. So basically, we just want to be able to encompass the process of towing. What is required by the tow company, what is the rights of the people being towed, so there's no miscommunication. Obviously, every situation is different, every situation brings about a different circumstances, but we want to try and level the playing field so that people can, most often than not, people are waiting a lot of hours, days, in order to get a car back. That's not what we want. If they're willing to tow at any given time, then they need to be willing to give back the car when the person's ready to get their car. And that's one of the main complaints that we're getting. But I'll refer to Captain Montes.
So,
Let's say that we pass this ordinance, and I park my vehicle in CVS on Broadway, which I have been getting a lot of complaints, that the vehicle has been torn, they don't know who did, and then, they don't know how. So how you are gonna be working with those two companies, even though they have to do an education piece to make sure that, as you say, everybody's gonna be on the same page. So they have to notify the police department before they tow the vehicle.
that's correct, Council. So this ordinance, Officer Cano and I authored it as a result of many complaints that we were receiving where that same thing was happening. Ultimately, the owner of a private property would contract a tow truck company out of necessity. People are parking in their spots, they need it for their tenants, for their clients, perfectly fine. The issue came about when the lack of notification to the police department was happening. So your vehicle was taken, you would come to us, and for all intents and purposes, your vehicle's stolen. We don't know where your car is, which obviously leads to accruing fees for storage, and that obviously it gets to a point where it becomes expensive for a person that made a mistake, parked in the wrong spot. So, in addition to that, like Officer Cano was saying, you would have tow companies that would tow your car, you go visit a friend, and your vehicle now gets towed, you know, and let's say that it's after hours. Well, now this company will go ahead and tell you, no, we're closed, even though they just took your vehicle 5 minutes ago, come back and pick it up on Monday. So, you wanna do the right thing, you completely understand that you parked the vehicle in the wrong spot. You're willing to pay to have your vehicle released. Your vehicle should be released to you. I don't believe that, and I think we share the sentiment, you shouldn't be punished again. Like having to return and pick up your vehicle on Monday when your vehicle was taken on Saturday could definitely, you know, derails any plans that you may have had, to include going to work on Monday morning. So I think we try to be as reasonable as humanly possible. We want people, obviously, to respect others' property. That's number one, and I think but that includes the people that do business within the city, and that's obviously the tow truck companies.
Thank you. I did have a case that one time, the vehicle has been towed, that was on Saturday. When she called, they say, I'm away, I'm coming back on Tuesday. So how do you can explain that you tow in a vehicle, don't you have any other person that you can be relied? But why do you have to make someone just work such a, hard time when you take the vehicle, you're towing the vehicle on Saturday, and you have to wait until Tuesday, just because you decided just to close up your business, and you have to wait till Tuesday?
And so when I brought up so not that long ago, I was a commander of the midnight shift. So this problem would come all the time. What I was told, it's dark, you know, it's unsafe to do it. That's why you see within this proposed ordinance that we've made it so that you have to light your lot properly. So, you know, to facilitate a safe environment, not only for the property, but also the people working there, the people going over to retrieve their vehicle, but also when you see that there's no cash payment or no cash being held at the place after 6 p.m. Well, that basically means, you know, you don't run into the problem of somebody trying to rob you. You know, I understand, you know, I would like to have a police officer everywhere, you know, but I'm unable to provide that. But in the meantime, these are measures that mitigate the chances of, you know, victimization.
That's a good one. So my next question is that passing this ordinance, the police is gonna have the full authority to be working with those companies in these cases like they come to you, so you know what you have to do with them, because right now, my understanding, by you putting this together, then you have nothing in place. So you can't enforce
So,
what we have out there.
so prior to authoring this, I got with the Department of Public Utilities. They govern, you know, the tow truck companies that conduct trespass tows throughout the Commonwealth. And there is no law that covers it, that covers what we're covering here. What they advised was, in order for you guys to be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish, which in all reality is fairness to the consumer and to everybody involved, is to create your own ordinance. And that's obviously what led us here today. As of right now, there is nothing in the books that prevents us from, or that aids us in even recovering somebody's vehicle once a vehicle has been taken.
It had been a case that you have to create or elaborate a report just because someone went to report stolen vehicle, they don't know that the car has been stolen.
That has happened multiple times. As a matter of fact, the most recent incident that we had, a young lady's vehicle was taken from her apartment building. The tow truck driver was of the impression that the vehicle was unregistered. The vehicle still had a sticker. It was in fact registered, and it had a resident sticker. So now her vehicle was taken. I ended up grabbing Deputy Chief McCarthy, and we ran over to that lot because what they were claiming was that they were going to make her, or they were going to give her a fair deal. They weren't going to release the vehicle for free for their mistake. They were going to still charge her for the tow, which we obviously thought was completely unfair and was an abuse of power, abuse of authority. You're holding my property, I want it back, you're going to compel me to pay for it, when it wasn't my mistake. So that's what we're trying to address here. All we want is fairness. The company, they work for a living. We understand that, and we want them to go ahead and make a respectable living. At the same time, we do want them to respect the rights and the liberties and the property of the residents of the city.
So I do have my last question, and then I'm going to open the floor for the council. Have you checked with the city attorney what you have been presenting to us, and they have given okay? Because that is going to save us a step, but we still have to be sending this up to him, the city attorney, for the final draft.
Yes, we did. So once we completed it, I emailed it to Attorney Tim Hooten, and he gave it his blessing, sent it back, and told me gave me the go-ahead to submit it to you.
Okay, Councilor, any questions? Councilor De La Cruz.
Thank you, Madam. My question is, how are you going to educate the public? I'm sure that you're going to send letters to all of those towing companies, but what about to educate the community? Because sometimes people don't know that they're parking in places that they're not supposed to.
So, Council, as you see in the ordinance, what we're proposing, we're making it so that it's not only on the tow truck company, but also on the owner of the property to make sure that the signs are visible, that not only at the entrance and exits of the property, but also throughout the property. So anyone and everyone should be able to see and know prior to parking, if I park here, when I come back, my car is probably not going to be here. So we're putting it on both. So if you see, if you look down at under failure to comply, the private property owner would be cited $200 if they don't have the signs up. So let's say I own property X and I call a tow truck company to come out and remove a vehicle, and they remove that vehicle and I don't have signage, then I will be fined. So again, what we're trying to accomplish here is fairness. Fairness. If you park your vehicle, there's no sign that says you can't park there. In your mind, you're not doing anything wrong. So we're putting, it's on the company to make themselves available, treat your vehicle with respect, treat your property with respect, return your property to you when it's appropriate, but also on the property owner to not abuse their rights as property owners.
Thank you.
Would you like to add?
So, just to reiterate a little bit of that part, is that there are tow companies that are doing the right thing, and they always do the right thing. There's a few that are maybe forgetting a few steps here and there, but for the most part, they are complying, and they know what's expected. As far as the cost, you know, they go out and they put their own sign for the company. So when they have a contract, I know the companies that they go and they go, no, we'll take care of it. And they make the sign for the business that they're making a contract with. And they put their tow company name and the phone number for contact right on the property itself, where they're not supposed to be, people are not supposed to be parking. So they're pretty good with that aspect of it. Sometimes the property owner will do it, but in conjunction, they need to work together. And it's something that the tow companies do know. And it's the difference between private tow and public tow is very different. So, and I'm sure you're all aware of that. But we're discussing private tow, private property.
Regarding signs, I used to see before, that's before I used to see the sign that said, see you parking here for more than also X, Y time, 10 minutes, half hour or whatever, your car can be towed. But this is good, that they should put like on the water or whatever place, the phone, the number of the company that they are using, so that people can also call and get the car or whatever back to them. So I think so that's one of the most important, because right now, none of those private companies are just putting any sign. So we need to also, if we pass this, it should be also every single owner of the property should have this, that they cannot say, oh, the law, they say this, but I see that if I go over there, you say, no, the law, you're going to show me, okay, this is the law. That is my responsibility, this is your responsibility. So I think so that this is something that also we should ask the owners to keep this visible in case of any complaint.
Absolutely, and we're more than willing to work, not only with the property owners, but also the owners of any tow truck company within the city to not only educate them. Ideally, it's something that we don't want to have to enforce. If we don't have to cite a single person, where we've won. So it's the whole purpose of the whole thing is obviously to get the respect has to be mutual. It has to be a reciprocal type of situation. You got if you look within the proposed ordinance, we go ahead and we talk about like the vehicle being released, to the owner in a timely manner. I don't think that that's too much to ask. You understand that you made a mistake, you went ahead and you made your payment, and you expect to get something in return for your payment. In this case, your property, your vehicle. And again, we're not talking about 1,000 tow truck companies that we have working in the city. Yeah, we have a handful. So starting an education campaign that would address that, and prevent any violations wouldn't be a massive undertaking.
The price that they charge you, the tow company charge you, is equal on everywhere, or a company can charge
So-
such amount, the other one can charge this amount, or?
So it's regulated by the state.
Is-
So one of the things within the ordinance is we want, when you go to that company, we want that posted. So there shouldn't be any surprises as to what you're liable for. Also, within it, you'll see that they have to notify the police department of what the price
that
is. So
is
when
great,
somebody
yes,
calls
sir.
the Lawrence Police Department and says, hey, where's my vehicle? I could say, your vehicle is at tow company X, it was towed from this location for this reason, and this is how much you owe them. So you could actually prepare yourself to go retrieve your vehicle. No surprises,
No surprises, thank you.
no problem.
Okay, Counselor, since he has been checked with the city attorney, what we are gonna do is, we are gonna be sending this item with favor recommendation, pending the final draft. I'm gonna be sending also the item to the city attorney for review, to make sure that everything looks good. So the motion is to send it to the city attorney and send it to the full council with a favor recommendation. So moved.
Second,
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. You do need to come back to our next city council meeting, which is next,
Wednesday.
Councilor President,
Wednesday.
next Wednesday.
Will do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, our next one is going to be, can I get a motion to take document 14823 out of order?
So move.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. 14823 is a disclosure of conflict by municipal employee, non-Alcantara Parking Division. Good evening, sir. Yeah, it's you.
Tu nombre para el récord.
Juan Alcántara.
Can you tell us about the disclosure?
Dile a ella lo que pasó con el disclosure.
La gestión pasada hicimos todos los requisitos que se nos habían solicitado, incluyendo el disclosure también. Pero ahora cuando se va a hacer los pagos no aparece el disclosure. Y estamos pidiendo a ver si nos ayuda en esa parte.
In the last administration, I submitted some documents to the administration, and I did it on time, and they haven't paid me, and I would like to know what's going to happen.
My understanding is because we have received something from the city attorney.
Lo que yo entendí fue que nosotros recibimos algo del abogado de la ciudad.
Have you been working this case with him?
¿Usted está trabajando con el abogado de la ciudad?
Pasamos el proceso con él, sí.
We already passed the process.
So the answer is that yes, he reviewed your case, he sent that information that we need to have in order for us to send this case out and not to have it here, or is there any additional information that we need to know?
Entonces la respuesta es sí, ya todo se suministró a él, entonces ellos están trabajando en eso. ¿Hay algo más que tú quieras dejarle saber a ellos?
No, está bien. Gracias.
So, I had a conversation with the city attorney,
Yo,
and he said that he reviewed
yo tuve una
the case
conversación con el abogado y que él está bien
to move this forward.
para mover esto para adelante.
Documentation that he needs to know,
Hay
to
o-
have in order for him just, to be, put us in a safe side.
Y él quiere saber si hay otro documento que tú quieras someterle a él para ya determinar una respuesta.
No,
So, ¿está todo bien con lo que tú sometiste?
sometimos todo lo que se nos había solicitado.
I already have submitted everything that he asked for.
Before I make the motion, I'm just gonna open the floor for any counselor who might have any question. Any question, counselor?
Thank you, Madam. I just want to know, how long have you working with the city attorney on this?
9 años.
Yo quiero saber cuánto tiempo tú estás trabajando con el abogado de la ciudad acerca de esto.
Estamos,
¿Años?
sí, claro,
Pues dilo.
alrededor de unos 2 años a 3 años.
Like, been like 2 years.
But why it took so long?
¿Por qué tomó tanto tiempo?
Porque supuestamente no aparecía el disclosure en
Because
ese momento.
supposedly they didn't have the document and I already submitted it.
You said that you everything.
Y tú sometiste todo a tiempo.
Todo a tiempo.
Everything I submitted on time.
Okay. What is the next step, madam?
So, I know that I had been in communication with the city attorney, but he was supposed to submit some more information, which we don't have it. So it's nothing personal, but I wanted to leave it table just to be on the safe side. I know that he's in favor, but I need some things in writing, that he sent that documentation, that he said that he was gonna send it out.
Yo entiendo yo lo que está pasando, pero yo necesito algo por escrito del abogado para ya yo determinar lo que se va a hacer. Y ella no ha recibido ese documento por escrito.
No, señor, está bien que está aquí. Sí lo pasamos
Pregúntale qué documento es.
bueno, el disclosure, o cuál hay otro documento que usted requiere, honorable.
He told me that he was gonna send some, information down, which we haven't received in my email or my package. So I want to make sure that you are gonna be okay, that we are gonna be okay, and that is why I say this has nothing personal. I know, I'm familiar with this case for such a long time, that shouldn't be happening, I know, and you're right, but I'm not the one have to make that decisions. I just want you to be okay, as a city employee.
Ella lo que quiere que tú entiendas es que él no ha sometido por escrito a ellos. Entonces, no es que ellos están en contra, sino que eso que ellos pidieron, ella no ha recibido ni por email ni por papel lo que el abogado está supuesto a mandar. Y ella lo que quiere que tú entiendas eso. Y ella sabe muy bien y ella está segura de lo que está pasando. Pero hasta que eso ya no lo vea, hasta que eso ellos no lo vean por escrito, no pueden tomar una determinación.
Like I say, you know, we've been dealing with this case for such a long time.
Como yo te he dicho antes, nosotros estamos, que esto ha pasado demasiado tiempo.
Pero le hemos dado seguimiento, hemos venido dándole seguimiento porque hemos parado.
I've been going through everything that have been asking me for, and I've been moving it.
Y tenemos muestras de
providing
pago
everything.
de otro momento también.
And I believe you, this is not because I do not believe you.
Y yo te creo, tú no quieres decir nada que yo no te creo. Yo estoy familiarizada con esto. Y yo te prometo a ti que yo personalmente me voy a entrevistar con él porque yo quiero que tú estés bien como empleado de la ciudad y nosotros como consejeros. Yo quiero que tú entiendas que yo quiero que tú estés bien.
Ok, gracias.
¿Ok?
And I also want you to tell him that he knows that we all speak Spanish, but we can't speak Spanish and translate it to him.
Y yo quiero que tú entiendas que aunque todas nosotros hablemos español, nosotros no podemos hablarte español, por eso es que tú tienes que traer un traductor.
Correcto. Thank you.
So, Counselor, can I get a motion to table and send correspondence to the city attorney about this case, just to be safe on our next ordinance meeting, that he can send all the documents or information that we
Ella
might
pidió una
need to
moción de
have.
que el abogado
So moved.
de lo que se necesita para
Second.
que todo esto se cierre y todo lo aprobado. Ya pasó la moción, porque ella quiere que la próxima vez que haya un meeting ya esto esté hecho.
Ok.
So, Mr. Alcantara,
Señora
am
Alcántara,
I gonna be notified to be present in our next ordinance meeting?
usted va a ser notificado si tiene que estar presente en el próximo
By
meeting.
any chance the city attorney needs to be present, we also will be requesting for him to swear.
Si el abogado tiene que estar presente, también se lo vamos a pedir para que él venga.
Ok.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Can I get
Second.
Good evening, Lee Beckenworth, Lawrence, Mass. Raquel had to leave because her son has school in the morning. Denise, counselors, we are asking that this monument be placed in Royal Park. A little bit about why Denise. Denise Murray, born and raised in Lawrence, and her parents and her 3 sisters. They lived in several places over the years, and most recently home, the family lived on Lowell Street. Denise was a force to be reckoned with. She worked at the Chamber of Commerce for many years, and then she went to Mass Hire as she helped her clients find jobs. In July 2010, her son Timothy's life was stolen from her and her family. Denise didn't like the answer no. She knew that there was evidence close by that she wanted that the evidence to be, she wanted the evidence to be out in the public. On every single month, on the day that he got shot, she would write to all the people, DA's office, the governor, you name it, she would do it. She did not like the answer no. Also, on the day that he passed away, so if it was the 24th, she would write another letter to the same people. She didn't like the answer no. She finally got the answer yes, and the video was on Fox 25. She needed her son's murderer put in jail. Unfortunately, only one of them was caught, and he's in prison right now. Denise was friends with many of us. I was fortunate to be friends with her since 1984. She knew a lot of people, all walks of life. Every inch of Lawrence, she had friends everywhere. She also took time to feed the homeless at TMF. She also took part in many groups, including our own event, the Day of Remembrance for the Murder Victims. Black Lives Matter, Lawrence Against Violence. She took part in many groups across the city trying to get kids off the streets, like gang members, for an example. Denise currently has a memorial photo at Mass Hire that they put up maybe a month ago. We heard many, many stories. Me and Raquel, we were present. Many stories. I didn't know how many people Denise really knew until that day, like even more than what we thought. So Raquel had a fundraiser, and they raised money to get a stone in her honor. And we already have a stone at Rowell Park for the murder victims. Former Mayor Rivera is the one that put it there, and that was the last place that Denise was at to be presented a certificate along with the rest of the group from Day of Remembrance. So that's why we're trying to get it put there. They were gonna try to have it put at the garden on Lowell Street, which is only a block from where her mother's house was. But unfortunately, it wasn't feasible. So that's why we are asking if you can put it someplace close by where not our stone, but the murder victims' stone is, because there's plenty of room there. I mean, I know that she's not a veteran, but she's a veteran of Lawrence. Everybody knew her, everybody. She touched many people's lives. Also, I wanted to mention that when she worked for Mass Hire, she worked tirelessly. She used to work weekends. You remember COVID. she would go out of her way on the weekend, making sure that those people have money from the, what do you call it, unemployment. Make sure that all the records are in line so that these people can get paid. So I hope that you will vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and councilors through you. I have nothing but great respect for Lee Fickenworth, the work that she has done over the course of many years through her own personal sacrifice and her own story to try to resonate and get people involved in what it means to be a victim in the city of Lawrence is critical and really important. And then having a sidekick like Denise Murray, that is also an important person, because I think when I think of Lee, I also think of Denise. I think of them working together, and so they have done some amazing things. My point for rising today is oddly less to do directly with respect to the monument, potential monument at Rowell Park, but just to a couple of things that I just want to remind councilors when I look at something. First of all, I really think it's important that we have something in writing. As many of you may know, I'm in the middle of writing a book about the 200 and so people that we've named something after in this city, and I've done a lot of research for the last 14 months to try to find out their stories. Sometimes I get a lot of information, and then there's sometimes where I'm having a very difficult time finding why do we name the government name something after somebody, because there's nothing written about them. I think if we're going to go forward with this, it's going to be important, not for today, because everybody remembers Denise today in 1860 whatever. Everybody remembered that person. They say, we're never going to forget that person. We're just going to put that stone there, and who's going to forget? Well, you know, we all have forgotten who that person was from 1860 or 1920 or you name it, even 1970, right? We have forgotten the stories. But if we put some of that stuff in writing to talk about what it is that this person is that rises above, I think that's helpful for the future, which is the other thing too. I think that when we look at taking an individual, and in our city there have been, I don't know how many people, maybe 1 million or 2. This is an interesting question. How many people have lived in our city since our city has been in existence since 1847? I don't know that number. It's a great question, but we have had some amazing people that have not been given anything to. I'm going to give you 3 quick names of people that have done amazing things that there's nothing about them. And I just say that because I think that when we talk about an individual, we really should have, I think, a high bar. One person is Hiram Mills. Hiram Mills was an important person in the city of Lawrence at the Lawrence Experimental Station. He was the one that actually in the United States helped provide safe and clean drinking water through a certain engineering and technology. So much so that people from around the world would come to the Lawrence, to what was in the Lawrence Experimental Station, to learn about what it is to distribute clean drinking water. This guy was revolutionary, and he was right here in our city. Not a veteran. Here's a veteran, Norman Arsenault, World War II, Saipan Islands, War in the Pacific. He was out there with a machine gun. The Japanese were firing him from a hill. He gets in the middle of the ocean, starts spraying, firing where the shots were coming from to protect his troops from coming in. He discharged all of his bullets, went back to the beach, rearmed, came back, continued shooting, and then the rest of his group went to their locations. And then his direct officer asked him to get out of there now, but before he could get to a safe spot, he died. He killed 20 Japanese officers that one day, and because of that, because of what he did with an act of bravery, he got the Navy Cross. There's the Congressional Medal of Honor, and right below that is either the Navy Cross, if you're in the Navy, or the Distinguished Service Cross, if you're in the Army. He was number 2. No one knows this kid's story. Guy was from Lawrence. He died in a foreign land. And the third thing, and so I was a veteran, and the third person that I just throw out there just because we have done nothing about this individual either. There was a guy from Lawrence who some may remember, who won a Tony Award, an Emmy Award, and was involved in, you couldn't turn on the television set in the 1970s without seeing him on television. His name is Robert Goulet. And at Camelot, he was in New York, and he was like off the charts. He was one of the top actors, and he came from the city of Lawrence. Again, somebody at the very top of this, at the very top of his artistry, and we have nothing named after him. He lived in Lawrence for the first 13 years of his life. I say that not to diminish, because this might be a worthy thing, and I may be supporting it, frankly, when it gets to the full council level. But I just want to say that we really should have we should have some sort of standards. You don't have to be the best in the arts. You don't have to be the lead in science. You don't have to be necessarily a hero in a war setting like this, but you should have it. And if I was going to make the presentation for Denise, here's what I would have been saying this evening. The stuff that she did for her own son, I think any one of us would have done for our own child if our own child was murdered. What makes her exceptional, potentially, is what she did beyond that. That is where we should be looking at what she did for the community, not just for herself and her personal situation, but for all victims. And I think once that thing is written, if that does get written, I hope to see that. That's what I hope to see in a document talking about how she impacted not just herself, which we would all do ourselves, I think, but for everybody else, which is sometimes very rare. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam. I will make a recommendation for Denise, who serves so many people in this community. As Lee was saying, she was for the community. She served the community. And that's why putting that stone next to the murder victims will be a nice place to see and remember Denise as a good citizen from our city. And I make a motion to send to the full council with favor recommendation. Aye. Yes. Aye.
Good evening, Ricardo de Jesus, 59 Ferry Street. No, whatever is working is good. We don't change it, so it's gonna be the same that we do. We usually it's a day we all the family. We usually pick that park because they have like a playground for the kids, and it's safe. It's out of the street, so you don't have to be chasing like the family that has little kids that they running around. So that's why we usually pick that park.
So move.
Second. Aye.
Thank you. All right, so the next week. All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Aye.
My first time before the council, thank you. Oh, fantastic. My name is Kurt Bistany, 1 Callahan. My name is Kurt Bistany, 1 Callahan Street, Methuen, and I'm a co-chair along with
Regina Ramey, 12 Meisner Road in Salem, New Hampshire.
So we're co-chairs of the festival, and Father asked us to come today.
Same question for you.
Same,
Are we gonna be having something different from you this year? I enjoyed what you have last year.
the only thing new is some new menu items, but everything else at the fair is going to be the same.
I'm gonna try to drop my weight that I want to be able to enjoy.
I go every year.
So it was incredible.
Thank you.
That I couldn't believe. I was fascinated when I was there. It was something like, I can't believe that we hold such a great day in the city.
Yep.
The heart of the city.
Over a decade.
Council, any questions?
Motion to approve?
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. You do need to come back to our next city council meeting, which is gonna be next Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For what you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next document. Can I get a motion to take document 121 and 23 by order?
So move.
Second?
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. 121-23 es Encuentro Federal de Nagüero en Lawrence, Anthony Coleman on May 13, Luce Luciano, and it's going to put it in the agenda.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. We are here because, okay. Okay, we changed the place for celebration. Okay, Xiomara Taveras, 102 East Haven, Lawrence Max, 01841.
So you said that you changed the location,
Yes.
so it's not going to be at the park.
No, will be in the private place in front of the park. You see, how is the name? ¿Cómo se llama?
Ahí donde está Amazoni.
La
43
Mason,
Jackson.
sí, 43 Jackson, and it's at the club over there, then we're gonna be there. In front, yes,
Wow, that's a great place, that's a great hole.
yes.
So it's going to be from what time to what time, just for us? So what time is going to be tonight?
¿A qué hora?
¿A qué hora? Es a las 11 en la mañana, a las 11.
11 o'clock in the morning, to, ¿hasta qué hora?
Sí, hasta las 9 de la noche.
At 9.
Hay un encuentro.
Be-
11 to 9, okay.
okay,
So yeah, no, thank you. I have all the paper in order, Pat. We just need to change the location. It's not going to be at the common park. It's going to be at, you know the address?
43 Jackson, I think.
What is that?
143
43, yes.
Jackson.
43.
No, just 43 Jackson.
43. Jackson.
Jackson.
Jackson, yes.
Yeah, but I'm just going to let you know something. Since you are going to be holding this event in a private property, we don't have to do anything. So you
Okay.
do not need to come back to our city council meeting. So you're good to go. So if you would have held it at the park, you have to be in front of us.
Okay.
So I wish I would have known and I would have avoided you to be here, but you don't have to be in front of us. This is not a city property.
Okay, thank you very much. Everybody is invited to join us.
Tell us about the food. You guys can have food.
Yes, yes, yes.
We're definitely gonna be there. So I know.
You are welcome, everybody.
You are welcome.
I know your sister is not gonna let us go.
I know.
She's gonna start calling today, right?
Yes, yes, you're not coming, why you're not coming? Yes, I know her.
She's gonna be calling everyone to make sure that even on Saturday when she doesn't see us, she's gonna start calling what happened in here, so, and all that. So, I'm sorry that I made you come. I wish I would avoid, you to be here, but you don't need to be present.
Okay, we're gonna be happy to have everyone.
Councilor,
Bye, thank you very much.
to send document 121-23 for withdrawal.
So move.
has been made
Second.
properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes. The gentleman on the back, what is your item?
We are because the case of Paulino, Daniel Paulino.
So document 139, Counselor, can you also check with the chief of fire, what is the item that he has on the agenda? So 13923, I don't need to get a motion because that's our oversight. Is a transfer vehicle license for the truck, Sabola Pinto, Daniel Paulino, 135.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Address for the record.
Diadre, déjame.
Name and address for the record.
Yeah, 127 South Union Street.
That's your name is Daniel Paulino.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is going to be a food truck.
Correct.
Okay. So what are you planning on selling?
¿Qué es lo que planeamos vender?
What is the food that you're going to sell?
Comida rápida.
Fast food.
Okay. Where are you planning to park? Where are you planning on parking the truck?
¿Dónde nos parquearemos?
En el parque de Sao Loren.
South Laurent Park.
Do you have any place after you finish your day? Let's say that, you close for tonight, where are you going to be parking your truck?
Our home. Our home. Our home.
¿Dónde nos vamos a parquear?
Después de cerrar.
No, en lugar donde se parquean los camiones, que uno los renta, un parqueo que hay por allí, que uno lo parquea, que uno paga.
Yeah. I got a little bit lost.
Dile que lo tenemos en la casa.
Exactly.
Dile que lo tenemos en la casa porque no hemos empezado.
And then whatever left over, you know what is going to be happening through the neighborhood. And this is what we don't want. We have an ordinance in place. So I know that he was passing that information to you, where he's going to be parking the truck.
As I said before, is going to be located.
So can you tell me what is the location that you're going to be parking?
Just the location. Eso era la dirección.
¿Cómo?
Eso era la dirección.
¿Cuál?
Solamente la dirección de donde va a parquear el vehículo.
¿Pero del parque o...?
No, el camión. O sea, después que cerremos, ¿dónde es que va a estar parqueado?
Oh,
No.
es que es un lugar que queda por allí, cerca del río ahí, que se parquean todos los camiones. Todos los camiones, uno hace como un contrato con ellos y uno paga toda la semana por parquearlo ahí. Pero que no me la sé la dirección. ¿Diga?
Si tú has hablado con esa persona ya.
Fui, pero todavía no lo he hecho, como todavía no hemos terminado con el proceso. Yo lo tengo parqueado en la casa porque estamos en el proceso todavía, no tenemos ni siquiera fecha de inicio de trabajo ni nada de eso.
Okay. So all the paper are in order. I'm sure that you know because you've been telling him where you're going to be parking. I just want you to make sure that you're not going to be parking your vehicle in your truck
Mhm.
in your house. In your
Okay.
home. This is not the ordinance. We can't allow to that happen. And I know that you know because you were passing that information to him. So we are going to be making a motion. You do need to come back to our next city council meeting, which is going to be next Wednesday.
Okay.
And she's going to collect some information.
En mi 601, ¿no es?
Mhm.
601, segundo.
So the motion is to send her with favor recommendations since all the papers are in order. So
Second the motion.
motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. She's gonna ask
Tell me, brother, I'm not-
and we are gonna
Okay. Thank you.
Chief Moriarty? Yes, ma'am. Is that you?
Yes, it is. I have item number 13523. It was left over from the meeting that didn't happen. New business, April 18th.
So can I get a motion to take document 13523 out of order?
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 13523 is no parking Concord Street, section at Hampshire Street, both sides. Chief, so just tell us.
Yes, ma'am. Since the new parking meters went into place, rightfully so, people are looking for other places to park. That section of Concord Street is from the beginning of the fire department driveway out to Hampshire Street. People are parking on both sides where we need to get in and get into the station. They've made it so that we are having a very difficult time with the ladder truck making the curve. Plus, we don't have a drill yard, we don't have an academy place, so we tend to drill in the back there. We do our hose testing on that street in that one section. There's a hydrant right there. And we have an agreement with the church in the back where we don't park in the street, we have passes to park in the parking lot. So we just want that one section, both sides, no parking, so that we can get through with the ladder trucks and the bigger trucks pull into the station and not damage any vehicles when we're doing our hose testing and such.
Okay, so the vehicles that are usually parked are not residential from that area. Is that residential area?
Well, it is. I think it's coming from the apartments on Lowell Street. Nobody ever parked there before, but then when all the parking meters went up, all of a sudden, there were no parking meters there. People took advantage of it, but it's just a small, on both sides of the street. We had it measured out. The city attorney did the ordinance for me. I got him the measurements. I didn't bring them with me. I apologize. But it's only about 150 yards long. It's not a big section.
So, if we approve just to park in one side, will still be,
It'll make a mess, because we had to do the hose testing, and so it's just small sections.
okay, so you haven't seen any more parking before,
Just since the meters went up.
it's been coming after the parking meter. Okay,
And the rest of the street, we're fine with. We just want that one section where we come in.
okay, understand. So, question? No question, I think this is something that definitely, those are emergency vehicles, they need to have access and just to be able to go through whenever they need to. It's always been now when they have to go out when it's an emergency, I hope we don't have any, for a long time. So I'm going to send document 13523 to Officer Cano and also to table the document. So moved. Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so what's that, the next step? Officer,
Next step, he's gonna go to the.
he checks it out?
Yeah, to check it out, he sent a recommendation, and then, for our next city council meeting, we can,
Okay, because this already went to the city attorney.
okay, so you know what, I can ask the author, because this is an urgent matter.
Yeah.
So why we don't drop the motion that we just made and send this item pending the police report, so that way we don't delay the process.
That'd be awesome. That'd be much better. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
And I'll talk to Abel, you said, is that who we're talking?
Yeah, it was the one.
We'll talk to him.
So, let me just ask the,
Motion to send it to the full council.
withdraw the motion first.
Motion to withdraw the first motion.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So the next document is, the next motion is to send it with favorable recommendation pending the police report.
So move.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so, I just wanna keep our council for last, because I don't wanna take festival with food truck, 70 General Street, May 20, Arlelis Concepcion. I hope, well, can I get a, check the document to make sure that everything is in order? This is gonna be happening on the 20. But this is something like 70 General is also, is that a private, parking lot or does belong to the city?
That is one of the things that we were supposed to request before we decided to use this, when we had the proposal.
I do recollect that information, yes, but I think, you know, Mrs. Rosie maybe know that information. 70 General Street, this is a city property. Mr. Rosso? Okay, just to be on the safe side, can I get a motion to send document 14223 with favor recommendation? So move.
Second.
Second, all in favor? The ayes have it. So, the only problem is like, I don't want to be holding this, only because this is so close, but, I am thinking that this is not a city property. It's a general street, 70 General Street. And I know there is a parking behind the Lawrence General that is belong to the hospital.
It's across the street.
It's the same, it's the same.
Isn't it across the street? Isn't it?
No, it's the same side of the hospital is located.
Yes, it's right, I think so, that is right across the hospital.
Okay, again, for me, it was a, but it.
Well, we should send it to DPW.
No, that's fine, I can check up.
It's the 70, so it's across the street. That's what I said. It's across the street.
14323 is a handicap parking at 8th Street, DA Dorga Di Stofano and Councilor Maria de la Cruz. Can I get a motion to send document 14323 to Officer Hannah and also to table the document?
So move.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 14623, proposal ordinance regarding stipend, Councilor Rich Russell.
Councilor Rich Russell, what address do you want? 200 Common Street or 34 Cross Street? I'll give you both of them. Okay, quite a few of my constituents, citizens, voters, taxpayers, have expressed a great deal of disdain about stipends being paid to city employees, okay? In particular, when the last budget came out, we all know city salaries are ordinanced, but when the salaries were budgeted, they were budgeted at a higher salary, a higher dollar value, and quite a few of those, well, I say quite a few, a dozen to a dozen and a half of those salaries, the difference between the budgeted and the ordinance salary was given to people as the stipend. Section 3.5, parentheses D, end of parentheses, parentheses, small I, end of parentheses, about the Finance Committee states, the Finance Committee is a committee on budget and finance to which shall be referred every measure which would involve the expenditure of city funds. Stipends, in my estimation, they fall into the same category as transferring funds from one account to another account. You have, I don't have a copy of the ordinance. Tim Hooton crafted it for me, and if I quote off the top of my head, there were 4 major items. Stipends would end at the end of a fiscal year. Stipends could be renewed, but the department head would have to come before the city council to justify it. Stipends could not exceed 10% of the base salary of the city employee, and the stipend could not go above what was budgeted in the city budget. To the best of my knowledge, that's what I remember about it. Like I said, I got a lot of people that are not happy with stipends. A lot of people weren't exactly happy with the Collins Commission report, the way that was crafted, that determined the salaries. It's always been my experience in my line of work. I had to go where the money was, not wait for the money to come to me. And that's exactly what happened when the Collins Commission report was done. They picked 10 or 12 communities. They didn't pick 10 or 12 of the poorest communities in the state to balance everything off. Lawrence, average household income is about $60,000. The average household income of the communities that they use to figure what the Collins report come out with, their average salary was well over household income was well over $110,000, which I think was a little bit unfair. I look at people running around, a lot of people are getting stipends in this building that aren't doing the work. If you want to give somebody a stipend, create another category. Give them, we'll say, E1, E2, E3, steps in each one of those salary things, instead of just throwing a stipend at them. And my own personal feeling is, if you're giving somebody a stipend for doing extra work, then they're not working hard enough in their regular salary job. It is what it is.
Okay, stay right there. You're not going anywhere because
Oh, I know, you're gonna grill me, okay.
So what you're telling us is that ordinance exists.
Is what?
Exists. This is something that we have.
It is an ordinance that Attorney Hooton, I went to him, and he crafted an ordinance that I think that you people have in your packet.
So it's the same ordinance that we have in place?
If it is, it's news to me.
Okay, so I'm going to send this document, but I also encourage you to sit with him to make sure that everything that you said, that make perfect sense,
That's,
is what we have in our book.
well, that's the reason I went to him initially. I said, this is what I want to do. I says, I want this to be according to Hoyle. I want it to follow the rules. I don't want it to be in conflict with any other ordinances. And that's what, after about a week's time, that's what he sent back to me. Then he sent it down to Eileen, and Eileen.
So he sent this back to you. Be an ordinance by the City Council of the City of Lawrence that the revised ordinance of the City of Lawrence are hereby further amendment by adding
Yep.
the following subparagraph to section 3.0.250 of the municipal code stipends.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All the stipends are starting and ends of the present fiscal year.
Yep.
Any stipend cannot be exceeds 20%
Mm-hmm.
of any employee's of salary. Stipends cannot be used to fill out in exceeds of salary listed for any position. All stipend must be approved by the city council and must be requested by department head.
Yes.
Stipend becoming effective the day of the following a positive council vote. To extend their exist in any ordinance of the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only, Rich Dawson. This is what you had sent it to him.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So he has not replied to us.
Okay.
Okay, so what am I gonna do, in which you are familiar with the proceed, is I am going to send correspondence to him,
Mm-hmm.
for him to send the final draft.
Okay.
And I'm gonna table it. You know that I always love to have you here, so that way you can speak on behalf, you can entertain us for whatever time, since that you're not speaking in the public participation now.
Okay.
It sounds like a good plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so the motion is to send, to send the items to the city attorney and also to table the document.
So move.
Motion has been made, properly second, all in
Aye.
The ayes. Table and send it to the city attorney, okay?
Can I make a quick suggestion? Make a motion for you guys to adjourn?
Yes, that would be in a great movie feature. Okay, so the next document, the author is sitting right next to us, document 14723, is proposal ordinance regarding request public notice to impacted resident prior to implementation. Okay, Councilor Levy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, the reason why I'm putting it is because what happened a couple of days ago. So when we move forward and the street, one side of the street, that no resident receive information or anything regarding having the street, put in one way. So I think that we should send corresponding or send some notification to the people, let them know, not just only because we're gonna change a street from two-way to one-way or one-way to two-way, but also anything doing on that street has to be notified to the resident who's living on that area.
Which we had something similar that they had been done, I don't know if you are seeing that they are covering all the signage with black plastic bag, and what they are doing is passing information to make sure that the education piece is gonna be taking place. They're not implementing anything, so I know that the people have to get familiar with the new changes. So I can send this document to make sure that we have something in place in our ordinance book, and we can open a discussion next meeting.
Yes, I know that we have something in place right now, and I was thinking to send it to the city attorney, so he's on vacation, I think so, whatever that I have. But I want to make sure that we can start doing that kind of implementation. Not just only, like I said, because it's one way or two way, but for anything done on any street, we should at least a week send notification to the resident that something is going to happen on that street.
Okay, so can I get a motion to send document 14723 to the city attorney to make sure that we have something in place, and if it's not, then just to drop something and send it down for our next ordinance committee, and also to table the document.
So moved.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. Document 12323. Arthur Hill license, Tenaris Clear Field. All the papers are in order. Can I get a motion? This is to the clear field that you see everywhere now. Can I get a motion to send it with the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The 12623 is rezoning of 199 Parker Street from R3 to B1. It has been put in the agenda by Councilor Morales and Mayor Brian Payne. Can I get a motion to send document 12623 to the zoning planning and table the document?
So moved.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, did I went too fast to that one, or you want me to repeat it? You got it? Oh my God. God bless you. Okay. Document 13123 is 220-meter parking space at 71 East Street, East Hayward Street. It has been put in the agenda by myself. Can I get a motion to send this document to officer and also to table the document?
So moved.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. 123, 132, 20-minute parking space, La Familia Market, 119 Jackson Street. 119, that's not going to happen because I think we replace, the vehicle. So can I make a motion to table this document until we get in touch with this? This is one of my constitution and I can stop by and talk.
So moved.
So the motion is to table.
So move.
Second.
Can I get a motion to, one thirty-three twenty-three is a loading zone 232 Brook Street from Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and also has been put in the agenda by myself. But we have to say like drop off soon, or is only, okay. So can I get a motion to send document 133 to 23 to officer, panel, and also to table?
So move.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 13723, proposed ordinance prohibiting obstructions of sidewalks. And it has been put on the agenda by Councilor Rodriguez. I spoke to him. He asked me to send this document to the city attorney for recommendation in the final draft. And also to send the with favor recommendation to order a public hearing, pending the report from the city attorney.
So move.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Before we get into, to table item that you can wish to take, let's take a vote to approve the minutes of the meeting of April 11.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, to approve the minute, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Any table item? Here none. Page 4. What is the number? 106. Page 4, okay. For withdrawal. Can I get a motion to take document 10622 out of table and also to send it for withdrawal?
So move.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any other? Wait a minute, let us see if this is the table. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Counselor. Are we good? Oh, to withdraw. Yeah, withdraw.
Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
Thank you, same to you. I hope that everybody, ellos no sé lo que están jugando allí. Fíjense lo que es el tienen mucho tiempo, pero lo que yo no quiero es que nosotras nos quedamos en medio y quieran jugando con entonces, sí, no documento.
Test.